All right, everybody. Again, Paul Henderson, President of Pro Travel Network. We're ready to get started with tonight's training call. Tonight, we're going to be talking about service fees, markups, and commissions, how to understand them, how to understand what the difference is, and how to maximize those things, including booking nets. So we're going to cover all of those things tonight. This call is going to be very in-depth. You definitely want to take notes. The good news is the information I deliver on this call tonight, I will actually be putting in practice as the following calls come up during the rest of the week. So tomorrow night, we'll be booking air, and I will actually show you how to book net, how to book with a markup, how to maximize your commission. So the things you're learning tonight, I will actually put them in practice tomorrow night, but I'm going to give you the mechanics of it tonight and actually how you proceed within the system. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, it all starts with a mindset. Mindset is simply the way that you think. It's not rocket scientists, very simple to understand. We are what we think. It's a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, or mental attitude. So, very, very important that as you start a brand new business, you need to have a positive mindset. You need to have the belief that you can do whatever it is that you need to do to accomplish the goals that you have. When we first started this session, I believe it was the first or second night, I said you need to create a business plan. Again, nothing ornate or very involved, but you need to have an idea of how much money you'd like to make, how much your business needs to operate. And I said a good number is about 30%. Some of you might do higher, some might think lower, but it's definitely not 5% and it's definitely not 10%. In fact, if you're averaging 10%, 12% commission, you've just bought yourself a job. You've bought yourself a hobby. Doesn't mean that you're not generating income, but you could be generating so much more. I mean, imagine if you're averaging 10% commission and then you have your split with Pro Travel, but let's just base it on the total commission percentage, 10%. If you bump that up to 30%, you're now making 3 times the money every single month. And guess what? You don't have to charge the client 3 times the money. Let me say that again. You can earn 3 times the money, but you don't have to charge the client 3 times the money. The key is believing that you can absolutely do that. That's really the key. The key is believing that you're going to succeed. The key is believing that you're the expert. You're the one that books travel every day. To assume that a client is expert is nothing more than a playing out of what we call a negative mindset. See, a negative mindset is something that we have and we've developed it over many, many years. It starts when we're small, starts when we're young, and it really starts from a lack of belief in who we are, what we can do, and it comes from the people around us. It comes from other people who work really hard but can't quite make it, always complaining, never able to really get over, watching our parents work a good job, work hard, complain about not getting promotions, afraid to start a business. I use the word hate, and when I say hate, I don't mean literally hate, but being a hater, meaning that when you see somebody that does well, there's a tendency to have negative feelings or thoughts. That person must have cheated. That person must have done something wrong. That person, you see somebody driving down the street in a nice Mercedes, and the first thing you think is, he could have gave some of that money to charity. What a waste of money. Like, you're judging someone's success, or you've watched other people do it, and all of these things sink in, and you become that same thing. You develop a posture that you can no longer achieve those things that you believed that you could before you got out of high school. I mean, think about it. When we were in high school, every one of us, am I right, thought that we were going to own everything. We were going to rule the world. We were going to be able to travel. We were going to be able to take care of our kids. We were going to be able to have the big house. We're going to have money. We're going to have the best relationship. Everything was just going to be perfect. What happened? Well, what happened is life. Life is what happened. Life got in the way. But guess what? That really doesn't matter. You can still have success. You just need to work on what we call negative mindset. And you can absolutely do that, but it takes time. It's not something that's just going to go away. It's not something that you're going to get off this training call tonight and all of a sudden everything that's negative is gone and you just become the most powerful person on the planet. Everything just starts moving in your direction. It just doesn't work out that way. So what I want to talk about right off the bat so that we can really understand this concept is something called self-sabotage. Self-sabotage occurs when your subconscious mind accepts a powerful negative thought. You have fear. I can't do this. Paul said 30%. I could never do that. I hear it all the time. My clients won't do this and my clients won't do that. Well, Paul, you don't understand. My clients are smarter than that. You don't understand where I live, and black people don't do that. And oh no, white people don't do that. And Indians don't do that. And Filipinos won't do. And it's just a bunch of crap. What it is you're making excuses to divert attention away from your lack of ability to perform the things that you need to perform. And the sad part about self-sabotage is your mind accepts it because it actually makes you feel more comfortable. See, when you have a negative mindset and you try to do positive things, things will automatically happen that make you go, see, I was right. I knew I couldn't. And you wonder why that happened. It's because you're putting off the vibe. You'll even have customers that seemingly just won't go the way you want to go because just in your mindset, your body language, the way you talk, there's no confidence there. You don't just say, all right, your price and that's going to be $49.89, and how are you going to pay for that? You can't even do that because you have such fear. What if they say no? So you have a serious lack of faith. You're worried about things that may go wrong before they go wrong. Obsessing with things you can't control, creating virtual obstacles. And again, self-sabotage is so powerful because it's trying to equalize the way that you feel anyway deep inside. We just looked at this slide here, why that happens. Well, the reason it happens is because that iceberg right there is your subconscious. The negativity is under the water. That's who you are, under the water, controlling every aspect of your life. Controls all of your bodily functions, controls your self-image, your personality, all of those things, regulates your heart. Your brain is powerful. The conscious part is just the part on top. So the part on top, here's a presentation from Paul Henderson. You just read a good, powerful book. You just read your Bible. All these powerful things are coming in from the conscious. But if you don't take time to force it down into that subconscious, it only takes one event, one negative thing to just send you back the way that is more comfortable. And 10, 20, 30, 40 years of negative input doesn't go away right away. So what you have to do is you have to begin to work on it. You have to start reading positive things. You have to take the trainings. And when you get tired and I don't feel like getting on this training, get on it anyway. Turn off the TV. Stop watching Bachelor Pad and The Bachelorette. I'm talking to my wife right now. And watch something else. Watch Discovery Channel. Watch something that you're going to learn something. Watch Shark, whatever, where you got those guys who have money. They're venture capitalists and people are presenting their ideas. That's a powerful show. It teaches you about business, and some people make it, some people don't. It's just a great show. So start reading and doing positive things. Because a lot of times these shows are just garbage. It's just not even real life. All these shows, these reality shows, it's just garbage. You should be taking that time and learning. Get a good book about business and sales and marketing and start really learning. And what that will do over time, you start taking that in, and guess what? Your subconscious will start becoming more and more positive. As it becomes more positive, you accept positive things easier. And when negative things happen, it's easier for you to say, no, I'm not letting that thought in. I can do this. I can do that, instead of making excuses. And that's all they are, excuses. How long does it take to get your mindset changed from the way you think now to the way that you need to think? It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's going to take as long as it takes, as long as you're working on it. Your thoughts become your habits, and your habits become your results. So here's the question. How many of you actually ask the client for more money? I already know the answer. It's proven in the averages that you have. I get to see those things, and I can see when agents average 10%. Average. When you average 10%, you're not asking for 15 because some of those bookings are 3 and 4%. That happens. So your average of 10 is because you're not asking for the money. You see, in the office, if Jessica averages 20% on a bad month, that still means by definition she's making a lot more than that on some bookings, and she's making less on some bookings. What does that tell me? It tells me that she's asking for all the money, but taking what she gets. But when I see people whose average is 8% and 9% and 10%, they're not asking for anything because that's what the supplier pays. The supplier is going to pay you 8%, 10%. Hotels pay you 10%. So if you're averaging 12, what are you doing? Carnival Cruise Lines pays you 16%. So if you don't have a mindset for success, just being honest, you're buying yourself a job. You just went out and you bought yourself your own job. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm training you how to do more. I'm not putting anybody down. If that's the way you want to run your business and you think you're being successful and you feel good about it, you're building your client base, I'm okay with that. But look how much money you leave on the table. Because here's the definition of a sale. when the client says yes. It doesn't matter where they say yes. It is a win-win at whatever point the client says yes. So if you ask that same client and added another $300 or $400 to it, and the client says yes, at that moment, it's a win-win. The client is just as happy. I want you guys to write this down. There's no such thing as happy. There's no such thing as super happy. There's no such thing as I'm so happy, doing backflips happy. Why? Because the client has no concept of the difference. See, and that comes from a confidence of selling, that I can quote a price to you. I can mark that price up based on value, based on my service, based on what I need to make. And guess what? I can say it with such confidence that you feel good about it. That's what a great salesperson does. Again, you need to develop a positive mindset to do those things. It's not your clients. All of your clients aren't on the internet looking for the lowest possible price on the planet. We've already proven that. If you've taken any of the trainings, the sales and marketing training or the booking air training, you already know that that cannot be true. You know, I'm in Toronto right now. I just got on Travelocity and pulled up Toronto to, say, London. Just pulled that up and look how many different airlines are flying that today. And each of those airlines has several flights going out today, and each of those has a different price today, ranging anywhere from $800 or $900 up to $3,000 or $4,000 today. And I'm not talking about first class, I'm talking about economy. So that means by definition, there is no way that all of your clients are only willing to take the flight that sells the ticket for $700. That's an impossibility. It's not true. How come you believe it? Because your subconscious wants to believe it. It gives you reason to validate your lack of faith that you could have gotten more. See, self-sabotage is horrible because it works off the negative subconscious. That negative thought, your body just accepts it because it feels comfortable. You know, we learned this in training years and years ago. I'll just give you a quick example. We're going to move on. We had a motivational speaker come in, and he just gave us 2 examples. Here's one. You guys can write this down if you want and use it later. You're at work. You've worked all day long. Got up at 6 a.m. You've been working all day, and it's the end of the day, and you're exhausted. Your kids are home, your husband's home, or your wife is home, and you're going to be home in about 30 minutes, and you can't wait to whether you're turning on the TV, whether you're getting in the bath, just making dinner, just sitting down, and you want to get home. You drive out of the parking lot, and there's a big accident. What are you going to do? Are you going to just say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to get home today. I'm just going to go back in the office and spend the night there. No. You'll drive halfway around the city if you have to get home. You're going to find a way to get home. Now, as you're driving, you get to the train tracks, and there's a train. And it's long. You don't know how long it is, and it just sits. It's not moving. At some point, you're going to go around. You're going to find a way around because you want to go home. Nothing is going to stop you from getting home. See, that's the mindset that you need to have. You've got a mission. There's a certain amount of money you need to make. There's a place you want to go in your business, and that's where I'm going. And any obstacle that gets in my way, I'm simply going to find a way around it to get to where I need to go. The opposite of that is you take a golfer who maybe is just an average golfer. Now, I'm not a golfer, so I don't know what average is. Let's just say he shoots 100. I don't know. And this guy shoots 100 all the time. That's just what he does. It could be bowling. You bowl a 90 or you bowl a 120 every single time. That's who you are. One day you go to the lane, and on the first 5 frames, you got all strikes. Everybody's clapping. They're excited. You're going, wow, this is totally unbelievable. I'm so excited. Somebody looks over and says, man, keep on going. What if you get a 300? And all of a sudden, you start thinking so negative, there's no way I'm going to get a 300. I can't even believe I'm doing this. I am so far out of where I should be. You're excited, but at the same time, everything in your subconscious starts working on you. And you know what you're going to end up at the end of this? You're going to end up with a 120. You might get a 130. You will trip. You will fall. The ball's going to get heavy. Your fingers are going to start hurting. Your body is not going to allow you to do something it's not comfortable with. See, the body doesn't like to change. You know why it's tough to lose weight? Because the body doesn't want to lose weight. Things in motion tend to want to stay in motion. Things that are stagnant tend to want to stay stagnant. If you got a negative mindset, it doesn't want to be positive. You have to work on it. So these things I'm telling you tonight about bumping your commission, you need to just do it. Stop saying you can't and do it. Success or failure. Top 5 reasons salespeople fail. This is the last slide for this, and we're going to move on. Buyers have a plan. Salespeople don't. You're just winging it. If they offer you a booking where you can make $8, let's do it. If they offer you a booking where you can't book it, you'll search heaven and earth to find a supplier that'll help you make this booking, and it's just a waste of time. It's not even worth the booking. You waste time with people who aren't even buying because you're reaching, you're hoping, you're not selling. You're not focused on your plan. Too much focus on the price. Too much focus on the price, not enough focus on building value and relationship. We talked about that. Talking too much, from being nervous, from having a negative mindset, from trying to overcome things that you don't need to overcome. Talking right over the sale. Client sat there and said, okay, and you just kept talking. You kept bringing up other things, and the client finally says, that's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll think about it. And he had already told you, I'm in. I'm ready to go. And, of course, failing to get a commitment. Again, a negative mindset, afraid to ask for the business. Well, I think he'd tell me if he was ready to buy it. No, that's why you get paid. We're salespeople, not order takers. We have to ask for the business. It's what we do. So I hope everybody got a lot out of that little intro there, and we're going to immediately now go right to the website, and we are going to talk about the mechanics of booking travel and earn what we call commissions, markup, and service fees. Let's start with commission. Everybody write this down. Commission equals overpayment to supplier. Okay? A commission is nothing more than an overpayment to the supplier. Paul, what does that mean? That means they didn't need that much money. So all they're doing is going to pay you back the amount of money that they didn't need. What do you mean, Paul, they didn't need? What I mean is when Carnival says they're going to pay you 16% commission, it's simply because they have a net figure. You overpaid the net figure, and so they're going to send it back to you in the form of a commission. So what is the net figure? The net figure is the figure that is what we call the bottom line. Okay? So in this example, let's say the cruise is $1,200. That's the retail price. The net figure, let's say, is $1,000. So when your client pays Carnival $1,200, they've overpaid it by $200. That then comes back to you in commission. So commission is very, very simple to understand. However, here's the problem with commission. The suppliers generally set the commission. So for example, with Carnival, you cannot increase that commission. With a hotel, you cannot increase that commission. With a lot of suppliers, you cannot increase that commission. Now, there are some suppliers that do allow you to increase your commission, like Fairbuzz, for example. Let's just go there really quick. All right, I'm on Fairbuzz. All of their bookings are what we can call net. That just simply means we add our commission. Now, they might use terms like markup or something like that, but I want you guys to understand, anytime it comes from the supplier, it is a commission. So here's a flight here. Fresno to Toronto, $596. But just in Fairbuzz alone, you can do this with Travelocity, Orbitz, Expedia, whatever. In this alone, you see you've got flights from $597 all the way to $777, from $597 up to $831. And so me personally, I would quote my client on something like this. I'd quote them somewhere in the middle. I'd quote them about $697. I need to make at least $100 because I want to make at least 30%. But here's the deal. Let's just say this is the flight I'm going to book. I'm not saying this is the price that I've quoted my client. I'm going to quote my client what I want to quote my client, but this is what I can buy the flight for. So when I go ahead and quote my client, I then click on Book It, and it takes me to the booking screen, and then what I do is go ahead and put the client's name and information in up here. I scroll down here to the bottom, and you see where it says Add Your Commission Per Passenger? It's already got $40 in there because we put 10% in anyway because you need to make at least 10% minimum. But I'm going to increase it because I want to make a little bit more than I want to make 30%. So I'm going to increase this from 40 to 80. So I'm going to at least make 20% on this flight. No, I'm going to make 30% on this flight. Now again, it's all based on whether your client says yes or not. So there's my price, $676. So what I've done is I've added additional commission to this. Some suppliers will allow you to do this. It's called supplier markup or adding supplier commission or setting your own commission. You can absolutely do this. Then if your client says yes to $676.50, all you do is enter the client's credit card information in there, their billing address information, your name as the booking agent, and you click Book It. And that flight is booked at $676.50. Done. And you just made $120 on this air ticket just like that. Now, a lot of you on this call are afraid to quote your clients $676, and that's sad. Because see, I can still quote my client $676, and if he doesn't want to pay $676, he's going to tell me. Well, Paul, why would he tell you? Because I've already worked the sales process. I've already built relationship, and guess what? I actually have a commitment. And that commitment says that if I can get this flight in his budget, if I can get him on the right dates and get him in the right seat and get his baggage included or whatever the if I could would you is, he's going to book it from me. So when I quote him $676, if he says, you know what, I didn't want to pay that much, I was thinking more like $650. Guess what? I can either say, well, you know what, these flights are changing. I just looked, and even WestJet has flights for $871, and they're the low price carrier. So I've got a really good deal here that I think we need to go ahead and book it. He might just say, okay, go ahead and do it. Why? Because I have that confidence. He didn't shake me just because of what he said. I want to sell it for $120. Or I might say, well, you know what? Let me just go back. Can you hold on a second? Let me just go back and just check something. I know WestJet, they're the low price leader. They had it at $871, and so I'm really getting a special deal on this just to beat that. But let me just see what I can do. You know what? What if I can do it for $665, or think I might be able to do it for that? One of Jessica's favorites is, were you going to use a Visa or MasterCard? Because sometimes I have special codes that allow me to get a discount if you use Visa. People know that, right? And so she uses that as her excuse to maybe discount it an extra $10 or something. And next thing you know, the booking's made. See, when you quote and you leave yourself room, you always have room to negotiate. And that is a very powerful thing that we all need to understand and learn. I'm going to write this down. Many clients feel like to win, they must get a discount. Are you that kind of person? That in order for you to feel like you got a good deal, you have to feel like you got them to come down something. If they won't throw in the floor mats, you're not taking it, because you need to feel like you negotiated. You need to feel like you just didn't say okay to whatever they said. And a lot of you're quoting and you don't understand why the customer didn't book it, because you got the lowest price known to man. You're not making any money on it. It's the lowest price around. Nobody can beat that price, and the client still says no. Well, you know why he's saying no? Because he doesn't feel like he got the best deal. So let me start over and make sure that we start this entire process with this hypothesis, which is not a hypothesis because it's a fact. So we're going to start with this assumption. The best deal is the deal the client believes is the best deal. So we're going to start it all with that assumption, that the client believes the best deal is the deal he believes in, because that's how it works. It's not about price. It's not about $1,200. It's about what he believes is the best deal or the best price. If you understand that mentality, when you quote him $676 and the client believes that's the best deal, he's happy. See, this is not about beating people. It's not about ripping people off. It's not about bad business. The client is happy. Just like you were happy when you bought your shoes, and you were happy when you bought that milk, and you were happy when you bought that insurance, and you were happy when you bought that car. There were probably places you could have got it cheaper if you decided to spend more time researching and doing all that stuff. But it didn't matter. You didn't want to do it. You didn't do it. Doesn't matter what the reason is. At the moment that you said okay, it was the best deal possible, or you would not have taken it. That's what we need to focus on. The best deal is wherever the client believes the best deal is. And a lot of that has to do with your confidence level. So this is a commission. You added commission to it. You made the booking. Now you simply go in and you invoice this. So I'm going to quickly run over to invoice, and then we'll come back and do some more. Let me pull up the CRM again. I'm going to go to reservations. I'm just going to grab Mr. Bond, the 6th. Let's go with Ben Bond, not James, Ben. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a new booking. And let's just say we go to air. Now, you put all this information in. You already know that, so we're not going to cover that. We'll cover that in the next calls. We're going to go right down to the bottom to the basic information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my FairBuzz page, and I see that I have a total of $521.50. It's going to be my base, $521.50. The commission is going to be $120.14. Okay? So now you just need to put in your taxes, $155. And you've got your $676.50, you're going to get a commission of $120 back, and that's how you would actually put this booking in. Then you simply confirm it, save it, go ahead and invoice it, and when you invoice it, you simply record how the client paid for it. They paid with their credit card to the supplier, and that's FairBuzz. And then FairBuzz will eventually send the commission back as the client travels. That's commission. Now let's go to the next one. Let's talk about markup. Now, one of the unique things about PTN is that we actually allow you to use our merchant account to charge a markup, a service fee. You can charge whatever you want. And if the client says yes, we'll take the money in-house at PTN, and then we'll pay you the commission because we already have it. It's a PTN markup. So I'm going to use the same FairBuzz example. $120.14. Now, in this particular instance, I'm going to pay it all to Fairbuzz. But you know what? And there will be no reason to do this with Fairbuzz because Fairbuzz allows you to add really as much commission as you want. You can put $250 in there, and you can charge the client $806. So there's really no reason to do what I'm about to do. But let's just say that you're going to charge the customer an extra $120, but you want to get a markup too. Again, you wouldn't do this in this scenario. But with suppliers that don't maybe allow you to add unlimited commission, you would do a markup. But for sake of argument, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to charge the client $876, but I'm only going to pay $676 to Fairbuzz. In fact, I'm not going to do any commission. So I'm going to sell the client this ticket for $556. I'm going to quote him the same $690. But this time, I'm going to collect my money as a PTN markup. I'm going to take it up front. So here's how you would do that booking. You would go in, and this time, you would put the $200 in the markup. There's no commission coming back because you're not overpaying the supplier. All the commission is being collected by Pro Travel. So in this case, you would add the $200 there, and your total invoice would be $120 or whatever it was. So now what you're doing is you're really doing the same exact thing, except you're taking it as a markup. So what would happen in this particular scenario is that when you invoice it, you're going to invoice it all to Pro Travel. The numbers will be ultimately exactly the same. Nothing really changes. So let me show you the Fairbuzz page one more time. So the base price without me putting a commission in is now $401.36 because I'm not putting any commission in. See, when I'm on the Fairbuzz page and I add commission, notice how the base goes up. They're just including it in the base. It's just extra money. So they're collecting markup, but when you do it through the supplier, it's called commission. When you do it through us, we call it markup, okay? Then I add my $120, and there's the price. It's still the same price. The difference is that when I save this and invoice it, I need to make sure I pay Pro Travel the money. And what you would do is you would actually call Jessica, because when you go to do that, you have to put a code in, and we have to go and say, okay, so you're making an extra $120? Okay. And so we're going to take $676 in-house. And then what we do is we then pay Fairbuzz the $401 plus the tax. So we then net Fairbuzz. So Pro Travel takes the client's money for $676. We then pay Fairbuzz their $556, which is their net, and keep the difference. The difference is your money. So the difference between commission and markup is simply how you collect the money, whether it's coming through Pro Travel or whether it's going to the supplier. You're limited when it goes to the supplier. It's unlimited with Pro Travel. If you want to charge somebody $1,000 extra, you can do it. If you want to charge them $2,000 extra, you can do it. Now, it's all based on percentages. You wouldn't charge somebody $2,000 extra for a $500 ticket. So again, we're trying to stay within that 20, 25, 30% range, 35%. Granted, though, we've had agents who have charged a client $1,000 for a $500 ticket. Well, why? Well, I'm going to show you why, so that you guys understand fully what you're able to do. So I'm going to go to Travelocity. You guys all know who they are. And let's do a round trip. Let's do Toronto to Berlin. Let's just say we're going to go on the 27th, and we're going to come back on the 30th. Okay? So what we have here is we've got $1,284, and I'm going to scroll down. That's the lowest. That's through Air Canada, but watch this. Multiple airlines, $1,300. Delta, $1,500. Lufthansa, $1,520. U.S. Airways, $1,550. United, $1,560. Swiss International, $1,570. Austrian Airlines, over $1,700. Air France, $2,025. British Airways, almost $2,100. KLM, over $2,100. Turkish Airlines, almost $2,400. Air Berlin, who you would think might be the cheapest because that's the country airline, $2,400. American, $2,800. Brussels Airlines, $3,300. Iberia Airlines, $66. British Midland, $69. Scandinavian, $8,200. So we've got a spread here between $1,285 and $8,200. Now you might say, well, Paul, why would anybody pay $8,200? Well, obviously somebody is. Obviously somebody's paying $3,300. Well, Paul, that must be first class. I don't think so. Let's click on American for $2,800. That's not first class. That's just standard economy. So, Paul, you're saying that in some cases it's okay if I charge double. What I'm saying is American is charging double. Why can't you? They're not afraid to charge double, and they're not even afraid to put it on the website and for the whole world to see. But guess what? When this flight goes out, it's going to be full. It's not going out empty. Neither is the Air Berlin flight. Neither is the KLM flight. So in some cases, earning more than 20% or 30% or 50% is definitely warranted. It really comes down to you, your mindset, and what you believe you can get. Well, Paul, I would feel bad. Why? American doesn't feel bad. They put you on the same type of plane. It's still a 757, the same seats, the same leg room as all these others. Why don't they feel bad? They're not giving you any extra anything. You're not getting any free drinks. You're getting the same flight, the same service, paying for the same bags as Air Canada. And if I did another search, Air Canada would be the highest and American might be the lowest. It just fluctuates. It makes no difference. So when you're afraid to ask for money, it's in your head. It's not the client. You're never going to convince me it's the client. It's you. When you need us to find other suppliers to help you do this, do that, it's not the supplier. It's you. You're booking at wholesale. The reason that you need this and that because you're booking at wholesale. You need to book retail. Get your heights up. Get your thoughts up. Make some money. Okay? So in this particular scenario, I might quote the client $2,900. Well, once I quote the client $2,900 and I give them the itinerary, I'm going to give them the Air Canada itinerary. I didn't tell them what airline it was. They say, okay, I'll take it. Then I go in and I book the Air Canada on FareBuzz at $1,200 and I make myself a $1,600 commission. Anybody have a problem with that? Or is it okay if American makes an extra $1,600? You see, that's how you book travel. You're aware. You're maximizing your work. Look at all these calls, you guys. You're missing family. You're missing all the things that you would normally be doing. You're working. Why don't you get paid for all the work that you've put in instead of giving everything away? So let's just say we're going to do this. I don't even have to use FareBuzz, guys. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this all with a PTN markup. All right, here we go. I'm going to call the office. Ring, ring. Can I speak to Jessica, please? She's on the phone. Could you let her know that I need to invoice something and I've got a $1,600 markup? This is Jessica. She comes on the phone right away. Somebody just passes her the message. How can we help you? How are we going to collect this $1,600? Well, my client said yes. They're willing to pay $2,769, and I've given the itinerary for the Air Canada flight, and so I just need to know how to do this. She's going to tell you, okay, here's what you do. Go into your back office. Go ahead and put it in. You're going to go on Air Canada as a supplier, or she might tell you to just use PTN as the supplier, but that's up to her. She'll help you with that. Go ahead and put in the information. When you get down to the bottom, simply type in the base. What's the base? The base is the amount that we have to pay Air Canada. It's $1,284.90. If you want to take an extra second, it's always good to put the tax in, though. So let me just go do that. I'm not going to shortcut. That's bad. Okay, giving me the details. All right, so what I'm booking is $622.90 is tax, and that's probably because we're flying international. Taxes are high. And the base is $680 something, let's say. I'm not going to go back. And I charge the client $2,800, so I need to add an extra $1,458, and that's what the client agreed to. There is no commission because the airline doesn't pay commission. So let me zero that out. Okay, there's my booking. So I'm going to charge the client $2,800. We're going to pay that all to ProTravel. ProTravel is going to take the client's credit card, and then we will pay the net to the supplier, and we're going to keep the $1,458 in-house, and that is, right down here, your commission. So now you've made a $1,400 commission on a flight that's $1,200. And guess what? American's doing it. The other airlines are doing it. Why not you do it? Okay? Very simple to do. It's markup. So now you click here. You go to invoice it. Now, because it's a PTN markup, the money needs to come through ProTravel. So there's a code Jessica gives you. So when you go to invoice this, you simply enter in that code and it allows it to process through. Very, very simple. So that's how you do a PTN markup. And you can do a markup on anything. Hotels, flights, rental cars, vacation packages, cruises. You can do all kinds of markups. Now, here's the great thing about PTN markup. It's opaque, invisible. Client doesn't even know it's a markup. He just knows the price that you quoted him. He has no idea what markup is or how much it is. Just like when you ladies go and buy clothes at the 50% off Macy's sale. You just assume that it's a sale. You're paying markup. You don't see it. You just pay the total price. You know, when we go to a restaurant and we sit down and we order that $18 steak, guess what? It's opaque. That steak didn't cost $18. That steak cost maybe $3 or $4 when they buy in that kind of bulk. You're paying $18 for a $3 or $4 steak. But nobody's telling you, hey, the steak is $4 and the markup on that steak is $12. Nobody tells you that. You just get the bill and you sign it. It's opaque. That's the great thing about markups. Nobody knows it exists other than you. If the client says yes, you collect it. So markup is extremely powerful. And the reason it's powerful is you can use it on any booking type. Amazing. I mean, it really is. Being able to use markup, and the agents that use it, their commission are far higher than those that don't. Many times higher. It's not even close. Okay, now this is privileged information, but I want to show you something. I want you to look at this report. This is the PTN office. Look in the last column on the right. Now, don't worry, Jessica doesn't actually get commission. She makes less than that. She's going to be mad that you guys know that. She doesn't collect commission. She generates far more in commissions than she takes home, but that's part of being the owner, right? But I want you guys to look at this. She averages this month, just in travel that she books, almost 24%. See how much she has in markup versus commission? Here's Shelly. She's got more markup than commission, averaging almost 30% commission. So I want you guys to think about this. Those of you who are out there, she's only booked $8,000 worth of travel, plus the taxes, but you add the markup to that because markup actually goes with the base. So in total travel, she's booked maybe $10,000. She's already made $3,000. $3,000 on $10,000 worth of travel on 5 bookings. This is not every once in a while. This is what they do every month. You know why they do this every month? Because I'm sitting there every month. Jessica's there every month, training them, working with them. Here's Izzy. She's a brand new agent. She's only been with us 3 months. She knows the drill, averaging 23% commission. This is booking real travel. They're not cheating. Same kind of travel that you guys are booking. Now, another month, just you can see. Jessica, over 19%. Shelly, 25%. Izzy, 26%. Alex, 23%. Averaging, total, 23.48%. That's how you book travel. If you're averaging 12%, you're not booking travel. You're in the business, but you're not really in the business. This is the business. And guess what? Each one of them is booking the same type of clients. Rich, poor, all types of different travel. The great thing about this, Shelly, to average 25, that means some of these bookings are bigger than 25. Would you agree? Let's take a look. Activities, $92 commission on a $200 trip. Airfare, straight air, 34%. Airfare, a $200 base ticket, she made $250 markup, 49% commission. Now here's a cruise. Not only did she get the $73 commission from the cruise line, she marked it up an extra $60. Marked this cruise up an extra $80. This one an extra $80. So you don't have to charge the client double the money to double your commission. You just add a little markup to it. So just by adding an extra $80 to the booking, she's got a 32% commission. Now imagine if you took that number across all the bookings that you've ever made. Again, the client's not paying double the money. You're just adding some markup so that you can move where you need to go. Now notice, she's got a markup on every single booking that she's ever made. And she's got a couple service fees too, which is 100% commission. So this is how you book travel. This is the mindset. Now, Paul, how did they get that mindset? Because I'm there every day. But look, I'm doing these trainings with you. I'm trying to show you, teach you, work with you. You can absolutely make this. There are some of you, you book somebody on a cruise and the cruise is $3,000. Why wouldn't you just charge $31.99? Do you actually think the client's going to say no because you add an extra $180 to it on a $3,000 cruise? They're not even going to know the difference. It doesn't even matter. But guess what? That $180 added to your $400 commission now gives you a commission of $580. So you went from a 16% commission to a 24% commission just by adding a little markup. Well, Paul, I got it. It makes perfect sense to me. Here, Izzy, been in the business 3 months and just gets it. You know why she gets it? Because that's all we do. Doesn't even think of doing it any other way. You can do a PTN markup on anything, and you can still get the commission if the supplier has a commission on it. All right? See, I have more respect for you guys in the field than I do for my own employees. Why? Because you paid money to build your own business. So for you to tell me that they have some advantage over you, I don't think so. You're just not using it. They just have me yelling in their ear. They just have me not allowing them to do any different. Then they develop really good habits, and then I don't have to tell them anymore, and they just do it. You guys just need to develop better selling habits. This is not just this call, guys. This goes back to the first call, starting your business, focusing on what you need to shoot for, learning the marketing, learning the sales skills, building value, getting commitments. It all ties in. If you're doing those things, you can sell for whatever you want to sell. You're building that kind of value. But here's what I'm going to say. The suppliers treat you like employees, not just employees, minimum wage employees, because they know that you've been taught and trained or have not been taught or trained, whatever the case may be, to accept the minimum. You'll book a hotel for 10% and think you actually did something. You'll book a cruise for 16% commission and feel like you really did something. But Pro Travel, Paul Henderson tries to treat you, even my employees, like business owners. You can ask them, does Paul have the business owner talk with you every single day? I realize you're an employee, but since you're on commission, I want you to treat it like a business. See, they get paid on commission, just like you do. My employees are different because I treat them as if they're business owners. See, suppliers treat you as employees. I won't be treated like an employee by Carnival Cruise Lines. See, Carnival's not my partner. I put a client on Carnival and 3 weeks later, Carnival's sending them emails trying to get them to book and they don't even put my name on the email. They know where they got the client from. Does that make sense? So I need to make some extra money so I can do the same marketing. How are you going to market with 16% commission? See, Carnival's not making 16% commission on that cabin. I guarantee you they're making 30, 40, 50%. You actually think it costs $1,000 to put somebody in a cabin? You know the amount of bulk they're paying for that food? You see the profits that they're making? Millions last quarter. How many millions of dollars did they make? And they're paying you 16%. Come on. Hilton's paying you 10%? And really, it's your fault because you're treating your business like you're an employee of the supplier, not like you actually started a business that requires you to generate a certain amount of profit margin so that you can not only make a good living for yourself, but you can put some money away in savings. You can buy some things. You can invest back into your business, just like they do. Okay, what price is on the supplier's confirmation? What difference does it make? You don't give the client the supplier's confirmation. You give the client your invoice. They didn't book it from Carnival. They booked it from you. The last time I went to Best Buy and I bought a 55-inch Samsung TV, I got an invoice from Best Buy. I didn't get an invoice from Samsung. When I went to the grocery store, Save Mart, and I bought Producer's Milk, I got a Save Mart invoice. I didn't get any confirmation from Producers letting me know the value of my milk. If you guys are giving your clients supplier confirmation, something's wrong. Aren't you trying to brand yourself or are you trying to brand your supplier? See, we're in business for ourselves. That's why if you notice on my Facebook page, I don't ever bring up supplier information. If I see a neat story from a supplier, I cut it out, but I don't put any links to any supplier. I don't want my clients going directly to Carnival. I don't want them going to Apple. I don't want them going anywhere. The PTN invoice with the itinerary is the only piece of paper your clients need until they get their documents for travel. Then they can get something from the supplier, period. Again, if you're not doing it that way, who taught you that? You didn't learn it from me. You didn't learn it from Jessica. You certainly didn't learn it from any of our employees because they don't do that. You want to brand you. You're the superstar. You made it happen. You're the go-to person. You don't ever want them to have any information about the supplier. That supplier will steal your customer in a heartbeat. So why wouldn't you do it? All right? Okay, so what if the client says they've been onto the airline website and found a lower fare? Hold on. Let me pull this up again, and let's talk about the what ifs. What if it rains tomorrow? What if my flight's delayed? What if I can't make it back home to Fresno? What if my daughter gets in an accident? I mean, what are we doing? This is not the way positive people think. We don't think about what ifs. I just showed you how agents are able to earn 30% commission average month after month after month, and your only question is, what if? See, that's self-sabotage. Lack of faith, worrying about what may go wrong before it goes wrong, and obsession with things you can't control, creating virtual obstacles. See, it's that negative mindset that you have because you don't believe you can do it. You can do it. Just do it. Well, Paul, what happens if a client? If he does, we deal with it at that moment. What you'll find is that very few actually do that. If they had all the information off the web, why'd they call you? See, it doesn't even make sense. And guess what? If they do call you on it, you can always come down. You can always say, well, you know what? Let me go back and look. You know what? You're right. That wasn't there. Air Canada is a little bit, the itinerary is different. It's easy. It's not a big deal. So you're going to cost yourself how many thousands of dollars because of the one what if that may never, ever even happen. And you're going to book some clients that will say yes. You're going to book some clients that say no. Don't get caught up in that. Don't feel like you have to have some super special sales skills to deal with a client who says he thinks your price is too high. How many times does American hear that? How many times does Best Buy hear that? How many times does Circuit City hear that? How many times does a restaurant hear that? That's just part of being in business. Don't worry about it. There's no special skills needed. You'll learn it over time. I used to tell my salespeople that years ago when I used to teach them in the car business. What happens if? Don't worry about it. Just let it happen. When it happens, we'll deal with it. Just stay positive. These are little things. Do you think that your clients are different from our clients? Are your clients different from Jessica's clients? Or are our clients all low IQ clients, right? Everybody that books from Shelley has a low IQ. They have big knots on their head, right? Forehead sticking out, eyebrow runs together, right? No, they're all the same clients. Diverse, different background, different demographics. It's not the client, it's you. See, the only thing that we can really put our finger on that actually is congruent is us. We're the one that's different in the equation. And I want you guys to know, I am not negative. I am excited. I know sometimes you have positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. They can both be good, but I want you to be positive. I want you to do it. I just use sometimes a little vernacular to show you that you may not be doing it. Now you want to do it, but you're still leaning into that negativity saying, well, what if, what if, what if? If you're ready to do it, let's just start doing it. Go get a pair of Nikes and just look at them. Just do it. All right, guys, that's it. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to get on the call. Tomorrow night, the calls turn to the booking calls, booking air, booking hotels. And so I will have plenty of time to cover a little bit more of this, a little bit of the CRM profiles, about me, different things like that. This is the end of the long calls because the other calls are much simpler. But these calls just have a lot of mindset in them. I have to give a lot of examples, show you a lot of different things, prove to you that what I'm saying is accurate, not because I say it, but because the information's out there, and I hope you understand that. But one last thing, I hope you guys understand that Pro Travel Network, myself, the office, we really believe in you, but more than any other entity out there, you guys should know that we believe in sales. We need you to learn sales skills. We need you to learn marketing skills. That's what's going to keep you in the business. Just learning how to book air and learning how to book a cruise. I always tease, I say a monkey could learn how to do that, but you're going to fall out of the business. If the business doesn't pay you, if you don't see some nice juicy checks coming in, come on, how long are you going to stay with this? If every customer seems to give you flack and you can't get over it, how long are you going to stay with this? So you need to get your mindset. You need to learn how to sell. You need to learn how to market so that as you build your business, you build it from a strong foundation. The other stuff is simple, but you got to have it upstairs first. If you got that, you can sell anything. I always say a great positive salesperson can sell anything. And that's what I'm more concerned with. Let's make you strong salespeople, and travel just happens to be the best product on the face of the planet. You guys all agree with that, right? All right. Everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.